They tore her apart, not for heresy but for thinking. The year is 415 AD in Alexandria, a city once the beacon of intellectual pursuit, now simmering with religious fervor and political unrest. A woman, a philosopher, a mathematician, steps out into the bustling streets. Her name is Hypatia. Hypatia wasn't just brilliant, she was a symbol. A pagan woman teaching Neoplatonic philosophy and mathematics in a world rapidly embracing Christianity, she represented an older, more open way of thinking. Her very existence challenged the burgeoning orthodoxies. Her story isn't just a tragic footnote in history. It's a stark, chilling reminder of what happens when reason is perceived as a threat, when intellectual independence is silenced by fear and dogma. It's a battle that still echoes today in different forms. Alexandria in its prime was a crucible of knowledge. The Library of Alexandria, though already diminished, was a legend. Scholars from across the known world converged here, sharing ideas, debating philosophies, pushing the boundaries of human understanding. Hypatia was born into this legacy around 350–370 AD. Her father, Theon, was a renowned mathematician and astronomer, and he ensured his daughter received an education equal to, if not surpassing, any man of her time. She mastered geometry, algebra, and astronomy. She wasn't merely a student. She edited her father's works, lectured at the Alexandrian school, and attracted students from diverse backgrounds: Christians, pagans, and even high-ranking officials. Her classroom was a sanctuary of intellectual inquiry. She taught Ptolemy's astronomy, Diophantus's arithmetic, and Apollonius's conics. She refined scientific instruments, like the astrolabe and the hydroscope. Hypatia embraced Neoplatonism, a philosophy that sought to synthesize Platonic thought with other mystical and philosophical traditions. It emphasized reason, ethics, and a quest for ultimate truth, often through contemplation and intellectual rigor. But Alexandria was changing. The Roman Empire was Christianizing, and pagan traditions were increasingly viewed with suspicion, then hostility. The intellectual freedom Hypatia embodied was becoming an anomaly, a challenge to the emerging power structures. The city became a battleground of ideas, and sometimes literal battles. The Patriarch of Alexandria, Cyril, was a powerful and ambitious figure, eager to consolidate Christian dominance and eliminate pagan influence. Orestes, the Roman prefect of Alexandria, a Christian himself, found himself in a power struggle with Cyril. Orestes valued Hypatia's counsel, seeking her advice on administrative and political matters. This connection proved fatal. Cyril's followers, fueled by religious zeal and perhaps political manipulation, began to view Hypatia as an obstacle, a symbol of paganism and a threat to Christian unity. They saw her influence over Orestes as a form of witchcraft or corrupting paganism. In March 415 AD, during the Christian season of Lent, a mob of Christian monks known as Parabolani dragged Hypatia from her chariot. They took her to a church, stripped her naked, and flayed her alive with oyster shells. Her body was then dismembered and her remains burned. It was an act of horrific brutality, a public lynching designed to send a clear, terrifying message. Dissent, intellectual independence, and pagan learning would not be tolerated. The official historical accounts, largely written by Christian historians, often downplayed or justified the atrocity. But the shockwave of her death echoed through the intellectual world. Many scholars fled Alexandria, taking their knowledge with them. Hypatia's murder wasn't just the death of a brilliant individual. It symbolized the decline of classical learning in Alexandria. It was a turning point, a chilling testament to the fragility of reason in the face of unchecked fanaticism. Her story forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. What happens when the pursuit of truth is deemed dangerous? When intellectual curiosity is demonized? What is the true cost of silencing a brilliant mind? In our own time, we see echoes. The suppression of scientific inquiry, the dismissal of expert consensus, the demonization of those who question prevailing narratives. The tools are different, but the underlying impulse to control thought remains. Hypatia represents the enduring fight for reason, for independent thought, for the courage to pursue knowledge even when it's inconvenient or challenging to established powers. Her legacy is not just her mathematics, but her very defiance. She reminds us that the pursuit of wisdom is never truly safe. It demands courage. It demands vigilance. It demands that we protect the spaces where ideas can flourish, even the uncomfortable ones. To truly learn from Hypatia's fate, we must cultivate intellectual humility. We must question our own certainties, be open to new evidence, and defend the right of others to do the same, even if their conclusions differ from our own. Her story is a somber warning, but also an inspiration. It calls us to protect the embers of reason, to nurture curiosity, and to stand against the forces that seek to silence inquiry for the sake of dogma or control. What other historical figures challenge us to think differently about truth and power?